A very narrow win for the Wildcats, but we shall see, because Widnes get this second half underway. The boot from Rhys Hanbury, and Fox is underneath it. He has seen plenty of work down this right-hand side for Wakefield tonight, hasn't he? They've peppered him.
Yeah, well, they know he's sometimes suspect, especially in but the biggest problem, I'm sure Richard Agar has got to sort it out, is his positional play, Peter. And as I mentioned at the half-time break, Eddie, Widnes realised that they've got to put a little bit more pressure. They haven't utilised the kicking game to their advantage as yet.
Well, they beat Widnes at Wakefield at the end of April. They were fourth bottom of the table then, just 7 points from 11 when they beat the Vikings. But Widnes with just one away win throughout the whole of last year at Salford, 3 this year, London, St Helens famously, and Bradford so far. First win at Saints since 91, and the first win against the Bulls, or rather first win at Saints since 90, the first win at the Bulls since 91. So been an historic year for the Vikings for all of that. And if they win here tonight, they will be just outside the playoff places. Hopes will be alive, but they've got to come back from this 8-point deficit at half-time. Here comes Phil Joseph.
They've got to be a little bit more adventurous as well, and utilisation, a bit more running from John Clark from the dummy half position. He's in that position now.
Well, when they got close to the Wildcats half in the first half, 3 occasions they simply wasted. Do you remember once Clark passing the ball, ricocheting off Emerald Carroll? They wasted some of the opportunities. They did have chances, but weren't good enough to take them.
Brown will hoist this high, and the chase is on. Patrick Arvan, Gareth Hock. Oh, and it bounces. Now, who did that bounce off? Rhys Hanbury has touched down. I think this has come off, my first impression is off a Widnes shoulder. But I'm not sure. What do you think, Stuart Cummings?
Well, I'd be more concerned about the challenge by Gareth Hock on the catcher. I think that may well be why the try might be disallowed, but we'll see it through here. First of all, we've got to check that everybody's onside, so all the chasers on the left there have to be behind the ball, and they are.
It's a knock on by Arvan anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it appears that way, but Hock certainly makes contact with the fullback. Even though he tries his damnedest to pull out, he certainly has interfered.
But it's academic because it's an Arvan knock on, I think.
Yeah, but
I think Gareth Hock here does his best to pull out of this challenge, don't you?
Yeah, but he still interferes with the man whilst he's in the air. You can't make any contact.
Well, looking at Arvan, if looks like the ball's come off his shoulder, which is obviously the upper arm, which would still be classed as a knock on.
Well, is it a knock on or is it a penalty? Should it?
I think it could be a try, man.
Or has Mathers actually knocked out?
I think it could be a try. The more you look at it, there's nothing conclusive to say that Hock takes Mathers out. There's no conclusive evidence of a knock-on, but they're going to disallow it, I get the feeling, anyway.
And it's a penalty to the defence. Well, so that was for the challenge by Hock, was it?
Yeah,
I think the challenge by Hock, he's not challenging for the ball, and he's gone straight into the fullback.
Onto the thigh.
Listen, it is in the air, is Mathers, and if you make contact with it, and the ball's nearly knocked Eddie over, one day
they were aiming for you, Steve. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but I was too quick. I got out of the way. So did Eddie. Well done.
Yeah, I'm back now. This is Oliver Wilkes for Wakefield.
Move! Wait! Go, 2.
Here comes Washbrook. Well, as we saw, Brian Carney was getting all his information from the mascot at half-time. Let's see what was said.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from here, Eddie. There's paws all over me. I spoke to the 2 coaching sides, Eddie. Dennis Betts, he wants a lot more discipline in defence. That means keeping your hands down, not giving away penalties, and giving the referee an opportunity to blow his whistle, and composure in attack. Very much the same message from Richard Agar to his side. Composure in attack. I'll just throw it back to you, Eddie. There might be this now.
Yeah, Lee Smith, but Patrick Arvan gets him down. He brushed away from Stefan Marsh. Alarmingly, really, from a Widnes point of view. Tim Smith booms the pass into midfield. This now is Lauatiti again. He's put the kick in. Oh, it's bounced everywhere, went backwards. And I think that is Widnes' ball, collected by that man, Patrick Arvan.
Oh, there looks to be a problem there for the loose forward, Heb Cahill. Is it the shoulder or the arm? He certainly looked under a lot of pain, and when the kick through from Lauatiti,
I think there's a bigger problem for Widnes, is that the Wakefield side just look far more enthusiastic. The last 10 minutes of the first half finished them looking the stronger side. And just look at the way they've started this second period. Both teams have had a 15-minute rest. The ball's kicked through and just ricochets off. But at the moment, they need somebody in the Widnes side here to spark the team back into life.
John Clark with a kick from dummy half right down the middle of the field. Now the chase for this will be important because it's going to stay and it's going to bobble. There they come, the white line, but Peter Fox fancies his chances against, well, first of all Marsh, and then he decided to take on Arvan. That was the wrong option, because Arvan put him on his backside. Mathers bounces away from Kavanagh, gets away from Lulawai, gets away from Clark. We'll come back and have a second dig at this Widnes number 17, Ben Kavanagh.
Well, with an 8-point lead, you don't really have to start being fancy when you're the Wakefield players. Just get in a good position. I mentioned just after the restart that Tim Smith will play an important part in this game with the kicking.
Lauatiti, Devil's own job to put him down. He plays the ball. It's here with Ayton now. And now Tim Smith gives it to Mathers, who just about hangs on. This is Lee Smith. Marsh brushed aside again, but Brown is in quickly.
I got to say, Lee Smith is creating all sorts of problems for his opposite, Stephen Marsh.
That was a kick from Danny Kermon from dummy half.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is Tim Smith is getting swamped with all different kinds of responsibilities. He's having to create the overlap and put the passes in, trying to free some of his teammates out, free them into some space or out on the edge, but also he's in charge of that kicking game of Wakefield's, and we've seen Danny Kermon, that's the second time he's took a kick, as we see a mistake from Widnes.
Yes, and a free play, but they might not need to bother with the free play because this is Cocaine. He gets the ball into Mariano. They're queuing up to score, and Mariano brings it round underneath the posts. Another mistake from Widnes that is punished severely by the Wildcats, and Frankie Mariano. Well, he's kept his place in the side since figuring against London, and he's been out on loan at Featherstone, Frankie Mariano, as we said in the first half. And he's come back here tonight and he has scored his third try of the season, and that could be curtains for Widnes.
Certainly it's going to be a big problem now. You can see there, a knocked on. Lulawai was the culprit. Cocaine, who's having a fine game. Beautiful pass on the inside. We've got to give a lot of credit to Mariano to put himself in that position. But Lulawai, he drops the ball. Not only that, he does not respond to it quickly. This guy does, Ben Cocaine. Great positional work. Mariano, the big second rower. And that is leaving a big hill for him to go up as Widnes to get back into this game.
Having the fingers taped together as well, Frankie Mariano. So an important score for the Wildcats at the start of this second half. Close to the post as well, as this should be academic for Lee Smith, and it is. And they've built an 18-4 lead now. 12-4 at half-time wasn't a winning lead. That might well be.
Well, you say it's a big hill for the Widnes side to climb. The coach should know all about that. Over the weekend, he actually took part in a charity cycle race in France. They ran the 20th stage of the Tour de France for the Joining Jack charity, which many Rugby players have supported over the last year or so. But Dennis Betts will know and have to work out a way how his team do get to the back up to the top of this hill, because at the moment they're rolling downhill fast.
Yeah, it was stage 20 apparently of the Tour de France, and it finished with an 11-kilometre climb, which frightens you to death, but it's more than an 11-kilometre climb here now for the Widnes Vikings. They are 14 points adrift.
Well, Dennis Betts will be disappointed at the fact that they conceded that try, but he'll be more upset by the fact that they did not react. Okay, they came up with the error. Lulawai knocked on, but then 2 or 3 of the players just stood around. Can't afford to do that.
They're getting out-muscled, Barry, aren't they, by Wakefield at the moment?
Yeah, Wakefield's go forward. I'm trying to work out. I think they're playing with 6 running forwards. Paul Ayton is using his size and agility just to keep bludgeoning the Widnes forwards. You see a very long kick. Is it going to be
a great kick?
Good enough?
It's a great kick, that.
And a good chase.
And actually very well done also by Patrick Arvan to get out of trouble, and Kevin Brown trying to work them upfield now.
Boy, look, watch Kevin Brown here. Arvan says, I'm getting over, I'm going to play the ball quickly.
And do you know what, Steve-O? Danny Kerman nearly caught him in goal, Patrick Arvan.
But that was great work there by Kevin Brown. He jumped in just at the right moment. Didn't expect this. Watch this. He wants to get on with it.
That's the view the referee had from his ref cam.
And look at Kevin Brown. He just got there in time. A little bit off the pace at the moment to the Widnes side. Poor kick.
It's straight into Ben Cocaine's arms, and he will immediately put down the pedal, and he'll get Mariano away again. McGrath Luluai gets to him eventually. But look where they're starting this set of 6 now. And here comes Lautiti again. They have the sniff of the playoffs to the Wildcats for the 2nd year in a row. A big end of the season, could easily make it to the playoffs once again. Lee Smith. 3 tackles gone, they're 19 metres away from the line. Here comes Kermond.
Well, we mentioned the problems that Richard Agar, the coach, would have had with the fact that both Dean Collis and Paul Sykes, they're not returning this game. The forwards really have had to muscle up, especially this guy. Nice offload yet again.
Lautiti to Tim Smith. He then flicks it to Danny Washbrook. Washbrook then to Mathers. Mathers with a drop of the shoulder. Can he get the ball free? He can. And who has it back?
Brown.
Kevin Brown of Widnes does. Opportunity wasted by Mathers for Wakefield.
Just a little bit overplaying there, Richard Mathers. I suppose you can't blame them in many ways when you're leading 18 points to 4. They know that the defence is pretty solid.
Well, the Vikings have missed more than twice as many tackles now as Wakefield, and you can simply see that since we had the half-time break, the breaks made by the home team now are visible, and worryingly so in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
And the key performance indicators have the margin of advantage for the Wildcats absolutely on the money.
That's a better kick.
It's a good
just
kick.
Be a bit too strong. But at least Widnes are in a good position. They've got to try to force the header now. Great work from Danny Craven.
Yeah.
We mentioned before this started, Eddie, that Joe Mellor out of the Widnes side. They've certainly missed him, haven't they, tonight?
Yes, his first match he's missed all year.
Well, the Vikings need a game changer. They need a player who now, in the next couple of minutes, before Wakefield are able to score again, can do something special. That's either in defence, where they force the ball free here with an error, or in attack. But they need a player who can change the whole momentum of the match, because it's running away from the Vikings at present.
Sheffield London Friday, an intriguing Challenge Cup tie. The Eagles against the London Broncos, 7:55. It's on Sky Sports 1 HD. Place in the semi-final at stake. It's the Challenge Cup quarter-final. The Sheffield Eagles, winners in 1998 against all the odds against Wigan, and they take on the London Broncos this Friday. Sky Sports 1 HD, 5 minutes to 8. Try and get along to the Don Valley Stadium if you possibly can. And on Monday this time next week, it'll be Wigan against Widnes again. At the same time, same channel. Andy Raleigh will take it forward for the Wildcats to the 40-metre line before he's grounded. Can't go anywhere without the legs, and Phil Joseph had him round the ankles. Here's Tim Smith. Mathers will fetch it wide again to Lee Smith.
Been a great battle, hasn't it, between the number 4s, Lee Smith and Stephen Marsh. Oh, that's not the best attempt there by Richie Mathers.
And Marsh is after this. Kermond
did well.
Well, Kermond managed to hold on to it, but that just simply bounced off the back of a Widnes defender.
That'll be the turnover.
It's the turnover.
Well, this is the chance. This is your game-changer moment here now. They've had the ball turned over. They're going to get 6 players. It goes into the back of Kevin Brown, and then there is some desperation now. Can anybody? Oh, Hawks lost the ball in the first tackle.
Danny Kermond again, my God. He has been everywhere on this pitch, Danny Kermond, tonight.
You asked me would I pick Ben Cocaine in the England squad. I think I'd certainly pick Danny Kermond a bit closer to it.
I think you're right, Phil. His work ethic, his unselfishness, he's tackling one of the most ferocious, aggressive players on the pitch. Tackles him down below and dislodges the ball. And a glorious beard as well.
So the game-changing moment goes out of the window. That was an awful error.
Yep. early in the tackle count as well. Oh,
Here
there's a
come the
break.
Wildcats.
Beautiful.
Cockayne, he's got support, and it's Matty Wiley. The substitute scores from one end of the field to the other. A big mistake on the first tackle by Gareth Hock at the base of the scrum, and Wakefield simply sweep their way downfield, and Matty Wiley was on the end of the move, and that's his first score of the season. He's set for a run in the first team now, you think, because Kyle Wood's been transferred to Huddersfield, and he's done himself no harm at all with that supporting run and this try.
This is the error there. Hock not being able to contain the ball. Good hit from Kermon, but good work on the blind side there. Mariano did the right thing. Cockayne, who's having a belter of a game, sucked in the would-be defender, offloads to this fella. And Matty Wiley, wonderful stuff. Mariano's big game as well. Down that left-hand side, they've enjoyed it. The likes of Mariano, Lautiti running on that left fringe. And there's the man that's finished it. And virtually, as far as I'm concerned, I think that might have finished off any hope of a Widnes fight back.
Well, he scored in the Super League. His only previous try this season was in the Challenge Cup against Hemel Stags. A little bit of a lift in quality tonight, and he's into the Super League scoring books for 2013. Now then, 3 from 3 so far for Lee Smith. And the orange boots are working wonders for Lee Smith. That's 4 from 4 for him. 24-4 to Wakefield. 4 in a row, it looks like, at the end of tonight.
And I'm going to pay a huge compliment to Frankie Mariano. Started this game in the left second row, has found himself in the left centre, and his pass was the one that set free Fox over on that left edge for Matty Wilde to finish. And I think as well, Richard Agar may well have just done his team the perfect compliment. He's rotated his forwards, he put Amo back on, Justin Paul back on, just when it starts to get a little bit worse for the Widnes club.
Well, we talk about season-defining weeks and moments for Wakefield. The next 2 games, home and away, they take on the Leeds Rhinos. That will sort it out for them.
Just to explain to the viewers why that happens in 2 quick succession is because of was the match cancelled here?
Postponed earlier on in the year, yeah. I think the snow was on the ground in those days. Look at it now, we're in 30 degrees of heat, and the pitch is in magnificent order, and the Wildcats playing well on it, playing really well, keeping this ball alive. Tim Smith, Kyle Amor was caught a little bit by surprise, but he still does enough to get as far as Gareth Hock. Here comes the last.
Too many missed tackles from Widnes.
They're running it with Lee Smith. Oh, now was that a kick through? And he did his best, did Peter Fox.
Well, he flicked it back inside. It's a big decision, but I don't think that the Widnes player played at this. So the ball plays the man. Good thinking there by Lee Smith.
I thought for a moment Lee Smith had dropped that.
No, he kicked it through. Fox tried to flick it away. Good work from Marsh. It should be head and feet to Widnes.
It is, and I think it was a knock-on anyway by Peter Fox, so the head and feet has gone to Widnes.
Good thinking, though, isn't it? The way that Wakefield have applied that pressure, utilising that kicking game right into the corner, it's been a real problem for Widnes to get out of their own red zone.
They won at Hull last week, Wakefield, conceding 26 points for the second time this year in a victory. The first time was at Widnes in April when they conceded 26 points. Richard Agar will be delighted with the 24, but at the moment he'll be thrilled to bits with the 4.
Kermon's down in back play.
Yeah, the referee has spotted him.
There was nobody anywhere near him. That's always a worry when a player just collapses. We already knew he's gone into this game. He had one of his fingers put back into place.
Well, it looks like the ankle.
I think that might be an Achilles, Steve-O.
Oh, he's just rolled his ankle, hasn't he?
Oh,
lateral ligament.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, they're certainly working on that left ankle.
This will be a bitter blow for Danny Kermond and Wakefield. Remember, they've got 2 men already out of the match for the remainder.
And you know, it so often happens when a man is going backwards rather than forward. You just lose that stability. The ankle turns over.
Collis and Sykes are out. The Kermond, and I think from what Brian was saying on the sideline, they might be long-term injuries as well. Mind you, this fellow went down last week, didn't he, when he had all the treatment on his hand, as you rightly said, and he carried on. But it just twisted over, didn't he, and getting back in the defensive line.
It's easily done. You know, the studs just get caught in the on the grass there. It looks as though he's going to be okay. Boy, is one tough hombre, this fellow, isn't he? They love him here, and they've every right to.
I think he just wanted a kiss and a cuddle off the physio.
Well, I tell you what, he looks as though he's gone for all money, and he's in the defensive line here.
Well, if that's the case, I don't want to turn into a physio, that's for sure.
Phil Joseph for Widnes. Kevin Brown, ball on the inside, and it's Kermond who's there, putting the tackle in.
In Kermond and Paul Ayton, they have two great defenders in the middle of the pitch. And we've talked about what they've done over the last few weeks here in beating sides and coming from behind to win games. But it's important for any team who want to make the top 8 and play well in the playoffs at the end of the season. You need good defenders in the middle of the field, and Wakefield at present have got two of the best.
Well, Widnes needs something a little bit better than what we witnessed there from Kevin Brown. It was a poor kick. The chase was non-existent. What a game this fella has playing the ball.
There's a knock on.
Yeah,
you've hexed him.
Just about to give him all the plaudits. And lost control of it. He says that Craven was interfering. Richard Silverwood, the man with the whistle, says no way.
So another chance for Widnes, but at 24-4. They've got to score really from this set of 6. Here's Jack Owens.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? They've scored 17 tries in the last 3 games. If anything, I expect them to get over the line a few times, and if they could do it once, well, who knows?
Oh, and here they go with Gareth Hock, and Gareth Hock will score. Gareth Hock was put through a massive hole.
It was a wonderful pass by Kevin Brown, and boy, did they need that. Perfectly weighted. Remembered in the first half, this is the knock-on that gave them the opportunity. Look at that, perfect. Just pulled out the man. Hock, a free run to the line. They've kept him pretty quiet throughout this game, Kevin Brown. But Wakefield could not stop this fella. Great combination.
Yeah, he was in the dream team last year, was Gareth Hock. He got 2 tries against Leeds last week in defeat. And off to Parramatta, of course, in Australia for 2014. But reports recently that he's thinking about Salford, or Salford are thinking about him. But I think the deal is done, isn't it, for the Parramatta Eels with Lee Mossop? That's the report, anyway.
Yeah, well, it was often said, you know, what's a contract worth these days?
Well, you've ripped up many, haven't you, in front of the television cameras?
My word.
Bits of paper, so that's all they're worth.
I've disappointed quite a few fans by doing that.
Jack
He's
Owens.
got it, has he?
No, just the wrong side. 24-8, 2 tries, neither of which have been converted tonight.
Great work, though. They've not given up the ghost, and that's the ability that Kevin Brown can bring to any side. Former Wigan and Huddersfield star, but...
yes, his kick before that was, well, limited, but that was a wonderful pass. Open the door. Now then. I suppose really the fact that, what have we got? It's a 24-8 scoreline, 16 points. They've still got to score 3 times, haven't they, Widnes, if they're going to do anything in this in the last 20 minutes?
Well, they've got to test their arm, haven't they? They've got nothing to lose. Still got a quarter left.
Let's look at the difference, though, in terms of meters Wakefield made. Their enthusiasm. You know, we tend to use the colour-coded system. 3 green lights for Wakefield shows that they're totally dominant. You'd expect them to be in front with how the game's gone. But the Wildcats, well, sorry, the Widnes side, 19 minutes, it's possible, Eddie. It is possible.
It is, with Brown and Hock and Arvan. Hanbury. Hanbury hasn't really got involved tonight, though that was forward from John Clark.
And he knows it. He knows that he has made a huge error. He's been around long enough to know that he should not have given that.
I think that flicked off his right hand, didn't it? Just flicks off his right hand and goes forward.
I think that's because he's almost trying to drag it back, Eddie. You can see that that ball's going forward, and sometimes players want to pull it back.
You know, Widnes, the clock's still running. The Widnes need to get the scrum formed here. They've still got time. They've got to have some faith and belief.
Well, I'm with Baz. I don't think Tommy Cooper could have got that one back.
You mean dynamo? It's dynamo these days, Steve-O.
Yes, he's very good. And he's a Yorkshire lad too.
Peter Fox running laterally, going down under Dave Allen's challenge. Amor.
Well, Wakefield will steady the ship, mainly through the big guys. Just trundle it up. That's good work.
Just in pause, back out there. Washbrook, Wilkes.
Well, they've been successful on that left-hand side. Will they go again? Yes.
With Washbrook. That's behind everybody. They all overran it.
Raises the arm.
Well, if you're a Widnes supporter, you know, you're hoping that in the next 10 minutes, Reece Hansby's going to get involved. He scored some of the best tries we've seen this season. Long-range individual efforts. You know, I'm not saying he has to dig the team out on his own, but at the moment, when the Vikings aren't playing well, some of the senior players and some of the hottest talent that they have has to step forward here now and lift the team.
Well, Cameron Phelps disappears, and I think Brian's got some news for us.
Yeah, Eddie, he suffered a heavy blow early on in the game. They kept monitoring him for the last 10 minutes. Little bit of concussion, they think. They're going to take every precaution and check him out in the change rooms, but there's a chance he might not play any further part in this game.
Well, that's a blow for Widnes, it is. Here's Clark. And Grant Gore is out there. He's missed the last 10. Normally a half-back. They've got to the last tackle. They're only just over halfway, Widnes, so this kick will have to be good. Up it goes via Craven's boot. It's high. Mathers pouches it safely.
And that's a better chase as well. Oh, he's made an error. He's been fortunate to get back, and he's got into the field of play.
Did well there. He retrieved the error very well, Ben Cockayne.
Yeah, he's had a big game.
But this is another chance for Widnes. They're piling in.
Just left it, and it went behind him.
And Steve-O, that might be the difference between the two teams. You made a comment about the reaction of Widnes when I think Luluai dropped the ball and the ball was picked up. Wakefield went down the pitch and scored. Well, the reaction from Ben Cockayne was to snuff out the threat, pick up the ball and crack on.
And Cockayne is held. That will be tackle number 5. The referee puts the hand in the air. The kick from Smith. That's not the best he's put in tonight. Craven. And here now comes Jack Owens. And they go wide. And it is Hanbury. He's going nowhere because Cockayne got to him. Owens again, head down.
Great tackle.
Wonderful tackle from Port.
Yeah, that's pretty good from a prop forward, isn't it?
Dave Allen. More good work from Mariano. He's hurt.
Oh, he's hurt.
Yes, he is. Oof. Risky offloading and through the legs of Hanbury to Grant Gore. He saw something, but Justin Poore makes sure that he doesn't go any further forward. Now it's Clark. This is O'Carroll and Brown, and good ball again to Cahill. And Cahill with Mathers after him. Oh, he's lost it.
Well, that'll be a knock-on. It looked as though he had the strength. Hep Cahill, who's had a fine game in the Widnes colours, he just couldn't keep hold of it.
You've got to pay credit to Richie Mathers. He does everything there. While he's wrestling Hep Cahill to the ground, manages to dislodge the ball. Danny Kermond again is in the frame.
Well, Cahill could see the first try of his season beckoning, but Richie Mathers had other ideas.
Well, it's a shame if you're a Widnes fan, because that...
it's a shame if you're a neutral, because that would have really livened the last quarter hour up.
Certainly would. It would have been interesting to see how Wakefield could have handled that sort of pressure. Well, they've come alive, haven't they, Widnes, after the Hock try.
Look at that, 22 missed tackles by Widnes. That really says it all for them.
Only 7 for the Wildcats. That also proves pretty decisive that they've had full control of this game, Wakefield. But it was nervous times.
They have the skill to unlock the defences, Widnes, haven't they?
And also the biggest problem for Widnes is that they've struggled to get into the opposition half, whereas it's been quite easy for Wakefield. Their forwards have worked overtime. Here's a kick from Smith.
Angled and cross field.
Not the best.
Jack Owens. Oof. Long pass to Brown. Halted by Lee Smith's tackle. He didn't like the attention, and neither did the referee. Penalty to Widnes.
Well, Richard Agar's got to get the message out and say, come on, fellas. It was a slap hand, wasn't it? Left hand right in the face of Kevin Brown. As I said, Agar has got to get that message and just say, come on, fellas. Muscle up in defence. Good run from Hawk. Great stuff.
Oh, and he puts the ball down to Patrick Arban, the would-be tackle. This will be a penalty because the referee shouted held.
Yeah, and Clark's getting a bit upset, and Richie Mathers has got a bit of a mouthful there.
Well, Gareth Hawk run onto that ball. He'd come all the way from Normanton to catch that ball on the full. Tried that offload. I'm sure it was against Wigan a couple of weeks ago where he got an offload similarly away to Arvan. John Clark holds up Richie Mathers, and watch. There you go. There's the big fella right into the ribs.
Another man's come in and taking over the touchline.
Well, in many ways, with being 24-8 down, you can't sort of disagree with the Widnes trying to keep this ball alive. That's what Hawk wanted to do. It was mainly handbags. Not even at 5 paces.
I'm not sure Richie Mathers would agree with you, but still.
Did you see a punch? I didn't.
Oh, sort of a bit of shoving and pushing.
It's going to give us some intensity though, Eddie, isn't it, now in the last 10?
Hopefully, yes. Amor. That ball's come free. It's a knock-on, I think, and Widnes are going to get head and feet on halfway.
Well, just at a time when they really should have got the kick and chase in. And the rule states you have to regain your feet before you plank the ball down, and I'm afraid he tried to play the ball when he was, well, his head was about 6 inches off the ground.
These shirts that the Wakefield players are wearing tonight will be subject of an online auction at a later date, with the proceeds to their charity. The Heart Research UK specially designed shirts for tonight. Brown again, taking them on. He looks the man most likely to for Widnes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he realises down this left-hand side, that's where Gareth Hawk will be running.
And here is Hawk.
Kermond, you're going nowhere. He's a great leader, isn't he, Danny Kermond?
And Justin Poor as well, Steve-O. We might get it.
Yeah, Gareth doesn't like Aussies. Danny Craven's put it down. Oh. And so too has the Wakefield man, Matty Wildy.
Well, he knew he had an opportunity. They had the overlap out wide as well.
He was scoring in the corner, wasn't he?
But great work again by Ben Cockayne. He's had just a little bit of a get to know me. Poor didn't like it.
Little bit of a shake of the head.
Smelling each other's aftershave, I think, Eddie.
Come here.
Referee's not happy, and he wants a word with Gareth Hawk.
Justin.
And rightly so.
2 fiery characters here, Justin Poor and Gareth Hawk being talked to.
Oh, nothing. Let's leave it at that, all right?
That was a nice touch, wasn't it? Referee says shake hands.
You think they meant it?
No.
I think it was a slap of hands, wasn't it? It was a low 5.
Okay, mate. Ouch! Turn back on.
Low 5. You really are up to the modern day, aren't you?
Oh, what?
Down with the kids, aren't you?
Out there. Wildly better ball this time. Oliver Wilkes loses it. And there's another bit of a push and a shove.
I think he's a case to say that was ripped out, mate.
Well, it was one-on-one, and he knocked it backwards.
Is it not
I
two?
feel.
I think he's hard done by, mate.
Well, we've talked before about the initial impact of the tackle. That's after the initial impact, and then the ball's come out. So I think Wakefield have a case for that ball being stolen there.
Yeah, you're right.
And the crowd agree with you, Stuart, because they've watched it on the big screen and they've given the decision a bit of a boo, to say the least.
Well, Hambry, I thought Hambry had pulled away, but he hadn't. He still had his arm on him.
Stephen Marsh.
Well, it's a bit of a purple patch by Widnes. The coach, Dennis Betts, will be probably saying, you know, where was this early in the game? This is the best period that they've had throughout the match.
10 minutes to go, 9 minutes actually. Brown pops it up. Clark's waiting as Hep Cahill gets back to his feet. It's Kevin Brown again, short ball. And he's gone without it once again, has Alex Gerrard. They have had their opportunities, but there's been so many mistakes from Widnes, so many.
Yeah, but you've got to say that Mariano has done well here. The ball carrying arm, that's what he's dragged away.
I was just going to say, I think he's ripped that one out as well. A bit of
I don't think he got the ball. I think he went for the ball carrying arm, which is pretty good from Frankie Mariano. It was a tremendous game.
Well, you can pull the arm away. There's nothing wrong with that. It's about the you know, stealing the ball, knocking the ball down. You can't do that.
Now we've got about 8 minutes remaining.
I think Wakefield just seem content, don't they, now with the lead and the victory, Eddie? It's pretty certain that they're going to win this match. And Paul Ayton again, probably an unsung hero for them. We've spoken and picked up on how well Danny Kermon's been playing for them and Ben Cockayne. But in the middle of the field, Paul Ayton does a lot of the work to help this Wakefield side. Out-muscled both Hull and Widnes over the last 2 Monday nights when we've seen them live.
Well, Richard Agar will be overwhelmed by this performance. You know, we keep saying the problems that they had in the three-quarter line. They lost Dean Collis, Paul Sykes early in the game. With having 4 forwards on the bench, they really have adapted well. And this guy's had a belter, doesn't he?
Hock brings him down. He looked out of it, didn't he, not long ago when he had treatment on a turned ankle. Nice little kick through by Mathers. Well done, Danny Craven.
Put his body on the line, didn't he? A little half-back.
It's a change of boots, by the way, at the moment for Kermond. Here comes Arvan. He's seen that Kermond's on the deck and he gets up.
Oh, and he still
gets the tackle.
He needs to pull his pants up, I know that.
Well, he does, but he'd only just put the boot on. Kick down the line for everybody to chase.
Not a bad one, but he just overrun it. Did Hambrick. Good opportunity, and here he goes. He's had a belter as well, this fella. He's very popular with the Wakefield fans, and they've every right to have him up there as one of their stars. He certainly has been tonight. Look at that. Put his boot on.
What commitment from Kermond.
Lost his breeches and still got there.
And he's still trying to get the boot back on. I just wonder if that's a bit more of an injury. Washbrook's put it down this time.
This is a free play, yeah.
They might as well have a run. That's a great tackle. Stephen Marsh got it, and then he was immediately dumped to the deck by Peter Fox.
Great tackle, wasn't it?
Hock will take it forward almost to halfway. Marsh again, and Brown, and here's O'Carroll.
And look who's there, Washbrook. That's 2 on the trot.
Brown again. Feeds it wide, and it's Dave Allen. Mariano to him.
Wakefield's defence have worked very, very hard, but the understanding they've got.
Mariano blots his copybook here. He just knocks it out as he's out of the grasp of the Widnes player, as he's trying to get back in the defensive line.
But he's had a great game as well. You know, he's had to take that centre position. Created all sorts of problems down that left-hand side. Now then, can Widnes, can they finish with a little bit of a spurt here?
Well, Cahill on the ball. If he'd have got the try that was beckoning him a few minutes ago, it would have been an interesting finish. Clark. Good tackling in defence. Grant Gore, the man who plays it to Clark. Here is O'Carroll. Good hit again by Kermond. He has been all over the show, hasn't he? Didn't like the attention on the floor. Clark. Good hit on Gerrard again.
Kermond is down.
He's flat out again.
Yeah, he fell over. He can hardly walk.
They go wide, and Hanbury will get in the corner. Well, it's respectable for Widnes now. They're into double figures, kick to come.
Good long pass out wide for the first time in this game. Ben Cockayne was left in no man's land. He knows it too. He's claiming to the official, Richard Silverwood, saying that there was obstruction way out, when really he should have been in a better position. But I fear that this man Hanbury has scored a try, but it certainly will not gain the 2 valuable points that Widnes needed to have any hope of staying in that race.
No consolation, but 5 games in a row now for Hanbury that he scored, and Owens has added the extras, and it's 24-14. 10 points and 3.5 minutes. No, I don't think so.
Well, everybody was congregated around the ball, and there was a mismatch of numbers, but I have to say, Danny Kermond's had a fabulous day. I keep looking on the pitch, Eddie. I keep trying to see whether there's actually more than one Danny Kermond out there.
I think at last he will leave the scene.
He doesn't want to, Eddie, but I think he's just completely out on his feet.
It seems to me, Mike, to have similar character traits to Jamie Peacock. I'm going back a long time there now, but you know, he's a hard-working, honest player who seems to inspire the players around him, as Peacock's done at Leeds for many years.
Well,
yes.
Richard Agar will be very happy, Eddie, with the win, but he'll be more than happy with the performances, especially of the likes of Ben Cockayne, Frankie Mariano, and of course his captain, Danny Kermond. Absolutely superb from all those 3 players, but the team effort in defence has been the key factor.
Yes, it has. And, oh, how about that from Justin Poor? Gareth Hock was going nowhere. A little slide through with the kick. Mathers is after this. It's in touch. It's in touch from the kick by Widnes. Arvan did his best.
Well invented, but far too late as far as Widnes are concerned. And they found it difficult against this pretty solid defence. And that goes forward anyway, so it would have been classified, even though it wasn't decided whether it was in touch, but it was a knock-on by Patrick Arvan. Ayton fans?
Yes, they'll be delighted. And they have made it 4 in a row. 4 victories in a row. There are shades of 2012 building here for Richard Agar and the Wildcats.
I think they're a side who like to be the underdog here now in this situation, chasing rather than being at the front, and it probably suits the mentality of the club and the coach. They respond to it, and I have no doubt will have benefited from what they achieved last year in that surge at the end of the year, making it into the playoffs, and still have that disappointment that they could have done better in the game when they played against Leeds.
Yeah, but they gave a reasonable account of themselves, didn't they, in the playoffs?
For 60 minutes,
yes.
You could say they were the better side, but in the final quarter, Leeds, as they've done several times over the last decade, have blown their opponents off the field in that last 20-minute period. And that's what Richard Agar will hope that his team have learnt this season.
Yes, they will live and learn. Arvan has knocked that.
Well, it's certainly a confidence boost, isn't it, for this Wakefield side?
Referee saw it another way. It's a knock-on against Wakefield.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know where.
Again, I think I'd be a bit more concerned about the challenge in the air. The you know, were they actually going for the ball, and was Arvan impeded on the, taking a catch?
That'll be a penalty.
Tackle complete, slowly, mate.
Well, 20 seconds remaining, and Wakefield 24-14 winners. They've lost each of the last 6 now against Wakefield in Super League. Widnes, they didn't lose any of the first 6 meetings, you know, but they haven't beaten them now since May 2005. 8 long years since Widnes tasted victory against Wildcats, home or away. All over. Wakefield march on, 4 in a row. They are a point behind Hull in the race for the 8th and final playoff place. And this run to the playoffs that is becoming an annual event in this particular part of West Yorkshire for these fans. It is gathering momentum once again.